Okay, we got 4 problems due today. It's going to take a while, folks. Okay. We're going to start here. We're going to kind of go in a little bit different orders just because I don't quite have everything together. But you do have this problem, right? Okay. So we're going to apply our learning a little bit. It says a triangle parcel of land has 235 feet of frontage road against it. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, it's a triangle parcel of land that is up against a road. Okay. And 235 feet are against the frontage road. If the other sides are 110 and 165, what angles are formed against the frontage road? So I guess I'll call that angle A, that angle B, that angle C. So we're looking at for angles A and B. How in the heck do you figure this out? What kind of triangle do we have? Which of the 6 situations do we have? It all comes side, side, side. In order to do side, 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 what do I have to use? Law of sines or law of cosines? Law of cosines. Law of cosines says that do I solve for, in this situation, side, 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 do I solve for CY? It's the largest. Very good. So we set up C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB times the cosine of angle C. So I've got 235 squared equals 110 squared plus 165 squared minus 2 times 110 times 165 times the cosine of angle C, which we don't know. Take out my handy dandy calculator, turn it on, reset it because it won't turn on. And I'm going to subtract the 110 squared over, and I'm going to subtract the 165 squared over. 235 squared minus 110 squared minus 165 squared. I get 15,900 equals, over here, I'll multiply the negative 2 times 110 times 165. And I get negative 36,300 times the cosine of angle C. Now, we've practiced this before to understand why we subtract the 110 squared and the 165 squared. Hopefully you've caught on that. If not, you need to stay after and get some serious help. Okay? What do we do now? What do we do? Divide by? $15,900 divided by negative 36,300. And I get negative 0.480, negative 0.43801. Negative 0.43801 equals the cosine of C. We'll see how much you know. Is cosine positive or negative? It's negative right now, right? Negative 0.4. Is cosine positive or negative in the second quadrant? It's negative in the second quadrant. Are angles obtuse or acute in the second quadrant? Obtuse. So we're going to come up with an obtuse angle or an acute angle? Obtuse. So I go cosine inverse of that answer that I had, that negative 0.48433801. Now, somebody the other day, I was watching them in their work, they just got rid of the negative altogether. Can't do that. It's totally illegal. Yep, you're going to math jail. Whoops. Why did I get 2.02? Yep, my calculator did not go to, when I reset it, that's what happened. So be careful about that. So I'll go back to my entry. Cosine, no, I don't have to close it. 0.4. $115.98. So this angle right here is 115.98. But the question was, what angles are formed against the road? I don't have either of those yet, so what do I got to do now? Law of sines. Sine of, very good, 115.98 divided by 235. Sure, sine of A over 165. So, sine of 115.98 divided by 235 times 165. And I inverse sine of that answer. I get 39.14. Can I now figure out angle B? How? With side, 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 it doesn't matter. Read the bottom. It says, or just start by using the opposite, the larger side. Okay. What do you get? So your answer to this problem, 39.14 degrees and 24.88 degrees. So you're going to have to be able to do a word problem or two on the test. One day. It's like always. One class period. Okay, flip back to this problem. Let's do example 1 here. I did. Boys and girls, eyes up here, okay? This is connecting with what we did the other day in class with bearings. It says point A is due north of point B. So point A is due north of point B. Point C lies west of both. AB, segment AB is 12. Segment BC is 13. And segment AC, whoop, 13. Segment AC is 15. What is the bearing? We will go B to C. I won't word it like this. And A to C. Okay. There will always be two. I will not use from. So B to C and A to C. All right, if I want to know a bearing, I need an angle. I don't have any angles yet. What kind of triangle do I have? So I have to use the law of cosines. Which angle do I have to solve for first? Angle B, because it's going to be largest because it's opposite the largest side. So therefore, I choose this formula. B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times the cosine of angle B. That's my formula. Does anybody know what 15 squared is? 225 is equal to, what is 13 squared? Plus, what is 12 squared? Times A is 13 times C is 12 times the cosine of B. Okay, so I'm going to subtract some pieces over. What should I subtract over to the other side? Minus 169 minus 144. I get a negative 88. I also need what? I need to do negative 2 times 13 times 12. So negative 88 is equal to negative 312 cosine of B. Two 0.2821. Is cosine positive or negative? Is cosine positive or negative in the first quadrant? Positive. Are angles acute or obtuse in the first quadrant? Acute. So we're going to come up with an acute angle, not an obtuse angle. Let's inverse that answer, and we get 73.62 degrees. Because you are looking for an angle. Anytime you're solving for an angle, you have to inverse. I'm just trying to help you understand that piece because later on in our next unit, that's going to come up. So could you please go to Wally World and buy one for $6.99? I don't believe you. $73.62 degrees. Now, look at the question. The question is the bearing from B to C, and the question is also the bearing from A to C. So what other angle do I have to find? I have to find A. Okay, so let's find angle A. How do we find angle A? Sine of over 15 equals sine of A over 13. Cross multiply. Sine of 73.62 divided by 15 times 13. And then I inverse sine of that answer. I get 56.25. Let's find the bearing from B to C. I will place myself at B. Tell me, what is the direction of travel to get from B to C? North, west. Can somebody tell me how many degrees west of north do you turn? 73.62 degrees west of north. On the test, I will allow you to leave it either as that or the numerical one that we calculated the other day. Just have to do one or the other. Let's do the other part. What is the bearing from A to C? What direction of travel is it? It is southwest to get from A to C. How many degrees past south do you turn to the west? Okay, and now I'm sorry we're kind of skipping around here. There's just I decided problems that we want to do, problems we don't. Flip all the way to the back side. We're going to do problem number 2. We're going to get to that in a second. Two ships leave port at noon. Is that what it says? And then ship B south 75 degrees east at a speed of what? How far apart at? Okay. Shh. Yes. For where? For right here. Oh, so for example, if for this one right here, let's say for the southwest one, you would add 56.25, so that would give you 236.25 for a directional bearing. But this is one version of the bearing. This is another version of the bearing. So it's south this many degrees to the west. It is complete as it is written. That's good to go. Okay. So on the test, you could either write it like that or like that. Either one would be acceptable. Okay. All right. We have 2 more problems to do. 2 ships leave port at noon. Ship A travels at a bearing of north 32 degrees west at 5 miles an hour. Ship B south 75 degrees east at 4 miles an hour. How far apart are they at 4 p.m.? First thing is I have to create a drawing. And you guys, I'm not going to ask you questions that I haven't prepared you for before, but this is one that, is pretty reasonable. I'll say I really like this question. I don't know for sure the word problems I'm going to put on there, but I can say I really do like this question. So, um, north 32 degrees west. Will that put me in quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4? So north and then 32 degrees west. Do I go to the left or do I go to the right? I go to the left. So it puts me over here, right? So that's the direction of travel of ship A. And this is 32 degrees right here, correct? I turned 32 degrees towards the west, right? Ship B travels south 75 degrees east at 4 miles an hour. Which quadrant will that put you in? Southeast. Which quadrant will that put you in? 4. So south and 75 degrees towards the east. The question is, how far apart are these at 4 p.m.? So I am looking for this distance here. I will call it D. If I knew these two other sides, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? So this is the line of logic you need to understand that I would say probably 50% of students just totally ignore on the test and they get the problem wrong. Okay? If this ship A, is traveling at 5 miles an hour, how many hours does it travel for from noon to 4 p.m.? How many hours from noon to 4? 4 hours. If it's traveling at 5 miles per hour, how many total miles will it have traveled? 20. It's a barge, okay? All right. The other ship B, it's also traveling for 4 hours. How many miles will it have traveled? Why? 4 miles an hour, 4 hours, total of 16 miles. I have two sides. If I could find this angle, I would have a side angle side. Can we solve triangles with side angle side? Yes, we can. So let's see what this angle is right here. I'm going to try to find this green angle. What is this angle right here? 32 plus 90 plus this leftover part here is 15 because 75 and 15 make 90. Very good. 32 and 90. 32 plus 90. 122 plus 15 is 137. Okay, if I have side angle side, do I use the law of sines to find the opposite side, or do I use the law of cosines? I use the law of cosines. All I have to do is just set it up and use the law of cosines, and I am done. So, it's okay, you can ask. 15, so this is a 75-degree angle because I turned 75 degrees to the west. So that means that this small portion right here, is 15 because 90 minus 75 is 15. So I had to add up 1, 2, 3 kind of angles in order to get the full big angle of how kind of where they left. Does that make more sense? Good question. So d squared is equal to one side squared plus the other side squared minus what? What does the law of cosine say? What do I put in next? 2 times 20 times 16 times the cosine of 137 degrees. If you have a fancy dancy calculator like mine, you could just plug it all in. 20 squared plus 16 squared minus 2 times 20 times 16 times the cosine of 137, and you get that. Is that my answer? Why? I have to square root the answer. 33.53. How's that? Yep. Okay. Tell you what I'm going to do. I am not going to give you an assignment today other than this, okay? Your study guide counts as an assignment and as extra credit. So if you don't do it, not only do you not get the extra credit, you don't get an assignment grade either. What? I'm going to hand it out right after we do the last problem. This last problem, I promise it is on your test. Not the same exact problem. I'll switch some of the numbers, but I promise you have to know how to do this problem for the test. This problem will also be worth the most number of points. It'll be worth 6 points. I'll show you how to get some easy points right away. But this is real life application here. You wondering where you're going to use life or when you're going to use mathematics in real life? This is an example of when it comes up. Now, whether or not you'll do this, different story, but this is an example. Southernmost boundary of a four-sided piece of land is a river. So this is the river right here. The other three other boundary lines are 285. And on the test, I will not give you such big numbers, and I'll draw it out for you, okay? Yes, it does. That's why I will label it for you on the test and everything so that you know exactly what to do, okay? Yep, okay. It says, what is the area of the piece of land? What shape is this? Close. So the Q, quadrilateral. It's not trapezoid, it's not a rhombus, it's not a square, it's not a rectangle. It's just a four-sided figure where no sides are the same. Now, have we learned a formula for finding area of quadrilaterals? How about triangles? Yes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to divide it up into two triangles. I'm going to choose to cut it like this. Now, look at triangle 1. Do you remember what information you need in order to find area of a triangle now that we know trigonometry? You need a side and the included angle. That's what we practiced the other day. If you did your worksheet with your 6 problems, you had to try all the areas. If you didn't do it, then you got work to do. So what we have here is the area of triangle 1 will be equal to, our formula is 1/2 times 285 times 564 times the sine of the included angle. Now, that formula is on your sheet that I gave to you that you get to use on the test. But you have to remember that in order to find area, 1/2 times a side times a side times the sine of the included angle. Let's write that out in our calculator and see what we get. We have 0.5 times 285 times 564 times the sine of 98. And I get 79,587. 79,587.84 feet squared. Hey, I already have half the triangle done, and all I did was one formula. Not a big deal, right? But look at the other triangle. Look at triangle 2. In order to do area, how many sides do I need? I need 2. How many sides do I currently have? Just 1. Wouldn't it be nice if I could find side C? how can I find side C? What do we use to try to find an opposite side? I have an angle, but not its opposite side. Law of cosines. Side, angle, side, we use cosines. So I'll use the law of cosines to come up with that. C squared is equal to 285 squared plus 564 squared minus 2 times 285 times 564 times a cosine of 98. Yes. So within the triangle for law of cosines, it says that we take this side squared is equal to that side squared plus that side squared minus 2 times that times the cosine of that. So there are no letters A, B, and C attached up here, are there? So if you want to insert your own, you can. But after a while, you kind of hope that you can do it without inserting. I did one just for the missing side, but that was it. So now, Cass, does that make sense? 285 squared plus 564 squared minus 2 times 285 times 564 times the cosine of 98. Is that my answer? What do I have to do? Square root the answer. And I get, is that what you got? I typed something in wrong. Oh, there's a minus sign there. Okay. 285 squared plus 564 squared minus 2 times 285 times. Oh, yes, we get Satan. Very good. All right. Okay, so let's finish this off. So I have two sides. Do I have this angle? I don't. I know the whole angle, don't I? So I'll call this angle here X and this angle here Y. What do X and Y add up to? 105. I can't find Y right now, but can I find X? How? What do I use? The law of sines. Sine of 98 over equals the sine of X over 285. 25.06. So can you find Y? Subtract from, and you get 79.94. Is there enough information to now find the area of the second triangle? Yes, triangle 2 is equal to 1/2 times, what's one of the sides? 322. What's another one of the sides? Satan. And then sine of the included angle. And what was the included angle? 79.94. Now that I have the two areas, what should I do? Add them up. I'm going to hand out your study guide.